Returning now to our top story, the US President Joe Biden has spoken for the first time since Vladimir Putin sent Russian peacekeepers into separatist regions of eastern Ukraine. Joining us live with more analysis is Jackman, the CEO of the US Studies Centre. Simon, good to see you. Appreciate your time. How much do you think the sanctions announced by Joe Biden overnight will really bite? How big an impact might they have on Russia's economy?
The difficult thing about sanctions at this stage of the game, Ashley, is that Putin and his cronies, the plutocracy that runs Russia, have had a long time to get used to life under sanctions. Many of them personally, and many Russian businesses are on the US Treasury's list of prohibited entities and all sorts of prohibitions against them. Frankly, having a life, a financial life to begin with, but a life, anywhere in the world, frankly, apart from Russia. And I think Putin and, like I said, that immediate inner circle around him have gotten a long time to prepare for that from 2014, from the Crimean annexation back in 2014. So it's very difficult at this stage to know what further pressure the United States through sanctions can bring to bear. I think perhaps of more consequence economically to Russia might be the announcement by Germany at US urging, of course, to cancel the completion of the Nord 2 gas pipeline that was going to bring a ton of natural gas from Russia into the Western European market.
Yeah, that was obviously a really significant announcement we saw overnight that the world had been waiting on and watching for really closely. In terms of military support, what have we seen on that front from the US in terms of what they've already given to the Ukraine and what else would be on the table at this point?
Look, for the last couple of months, there has been a significant airlift of military supplies, hardware from both the United Kingdom and from the United States, in first instance to NATO countries, but in some cases directly into the hands of the Ukrainian military per se, critically including tons of a particular weapon, the Javelin anti-tank weapon that is perhaps the best kit that the West has at its disposal in combating armoured infantry, armour rather, coming across the border, of the sort that would be thought to be the key vector of a Russian invasion further into Ukraine. So expect plenty more of that. But I think, and Ashley, we're sort of back to the Cold War. This is sort of what a Cold War style proxy war is going to look like, I think. We will not see direct confrontation between troops from the United States and Russian regulars, regular military. We will see instead, as was the pattern in many Cold War era conflicts, the US providing technical support, a ton of munitions and arms and whatnot, but the actual fighting on the ground by locals. I don't think Biden has any appetite whatsoever for putting US troops, boots on the ground in Ukraine. And frankly, and this is a bitter truth about this conflict, Ashley, Ukraine is not a frontline strategic interest for the United States. It is of immense importance to Putin. And that asymmetry, I think, speaks to the dynamics that we're seeing here. Biden will rely on those second-order sanctions and fighting a proxy war, Cold War style, backstopping the NATO allies. But there is no appetite in the United States and no appetite inside the Biden administration to be drawn in with US regular forces on the ground in Ukraine.